Hi, everybody. It's Salesforce Jen, and this video is going to talk about having multiple Experience Cloud organizations or sites. This is a more advanced video. If you have never worked with Experience Cloud, I would recommend you go to my playlist on creating an Experience Cloud site step by step. First, you'll need to be familiar with creating it. And then if you've never made authenticated users, I do have a video talking about authenticated users, and you'll want to visit that to understand the implications and profiles. I have created some Experience Cloud sites. Let's find the right one. We go here to all sites. That is a Chrome extension I'm using called Why Salesforce, but alternatively, you can type in all sites and you should be familiar with this. You can see that I have 6 sites that I have created and 3 are active. It's very common for clients to have a customer site and a partner site, and sometimes even multiple of those. But I've created 2 sites, one called my sample customer service portal and Ursa Major partner site, because I would like to demonstrate what to do when you have multiple sites and things to consider. So the first thing you need to consider is the profiles. Again, you'll have to watch my authenticated sites video to make them, but I have made some profiles already, and I'm going to show you a few things in just a moment regarding the profiles. You always want to start in your org-wide defaults. When you have several sites, you're going to be looking at this default external access object line. This tells you what the objects externally are showing. Most of these, especially when you have more than one site, you've got to leave it private. You don't want to expose information from other people's records to another user on a different site. So you'll keep these all as private, meaning only the owner can see them. If you want to extend the permissions, if you have, say, 2 people at the same organization, one may own the record, one may not, and you want to extend that to show more than that. From sharing settings, you set your defaults, and then you go into digital experiences. I typed it here, and you go to settings, and you create sharing sets. This means this can share with this particular org. You'll set it up by profile. Here's an example. If I click on that, I'm going to say this profile right here has access based on these conditions. You set it up by profile and object. For instance, if I go back to my sharing settings, if I want to edit this, I've already added the ability to do this. So I want them to have this partner community clone to also have access to opportunities. I'll bring that over, and then I'm going to set it up by giving it conditions based XYZ. But that's a more complicated one. Remember, when you have both sites, you're going to use sharing sets to open up access, and you're going to keep everything as secure as possible in your org-wide settings. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about profiles. If you've watched my other video, you're going to know how to create the profile for the user. I've created a customer community clone. This is the custom profile. I cloned the other one to show this is my customer community users and my partner users. But I've gone a step further because sometimes when you have a partner and a community site or multiple sites, you want to give someone access to both. So I created a third profile, which acts for both sites, and I'll show you what that looks like. Let's look at this picture. I've got a partner profile who is assigned to Alexis, and I have a customer profile assigned to David. But Moira, I want her to have access to both. I've set it up where she's going to have the customer and the partner profile. So let's see what that looks like. I already created my users. I've got David Rose, Moira, and Alexis. And I've already created them users on the back end. And so what that looks like is if we look over here at my user list, we've got Alexis here. I assigned her the partner community clone. David right under that has the customer community one. And Moira has the partner and the customer community profile. The profile is going to allow them to see something, but it's not necessarily going to give them access. You're going to go to your builder. I'm going to the customer profile first. And inside the builder, I'm actually going to switch to my admin settings and show you how this is set up. Remember, this is the customer site. Under admin settings is where you set up what members can get in. What I've done is I've said anybody with the customer community clone can get in, but anybody with the partner plus the customer community profile should be able to get in. I've done the opposite on my partner site. The partner site allows the partner profile or the partner and customer community profile. Let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to log out of my org I've already grabbed my customer community site login, and I'm going to paste that right there. For my customer community, if I look at my list, I had assigned David the profile. I've also created a little favicon so we can see that he's up there. I'm going to grab my credentials right now, and we're going to log David in. Now David can log in, but he only sees the customer community. Let's take another login and let us go to our other community. And this is where we have Alexis. I put her little favicon there. This is the partner site. Let me get Alexis's login information and show you what that looks like. I have my other site here. We've got Alexis in the partner site and David in the home site. Now, I told you I gave Moira access to both. And what I did is in David, you can see I uploaded to his profile here. Alexis, I have here. They're just standard users. I created some buttons for them to get to the other sites. For instance, if I want to go to the customer site, I click this. But Alexis is not a member, so she's not allowed in there. David, I added to the menu the partner site. These are just external links. Again, he can't get in because he is not a member of that site. I was already logged in as Alexis, so she's showing that. Let's go back. We're going to make sure everybody is logged out of both of these sites and make sure David's still not logged in here. Take that login off. Okay, he's not. And Alexis, we're going to log her out. All right. There's a couple different ways. We have the customer URL right here. Again, we have the partner URL right here. Now let's say Moira wants to log in. How do we know which one she logs into? Well, it has to do with the URL. If she goes to the URL with partner, she'll log in there, or she can log in to the regular one. It doesn't matter which one. It just depends on which site that she wants to go to. I'm going to grab her login information. Let's log in. Now, Moira just logged in. I can see Moira's picture right up here, and she's in the regular customer community. She could go over here because my browser's already logged in. I can just go to the partner community now, and I'm logged in. There's Moira's picture again. All she needs is one. But if she's logged into one and she doesn't know the URL of the other, she's not going to go over there, which is why I added these links. For her, she could go to the customer site, but she was already logged in because you log into one, you're logged into both. Or from here, she can go back to the partner site. If I log out of one, I'm logged out of both. If I go to Moira's profile, what happens when I change something? Let's give her a new picture. I have a nicer picture of her that I wanted to upload here. Let's save it. We're going to give it a minute to think about that. Go back to my home page, and this will update in just a moment. Let's refresh. See, I got Moira's new image. Well, maybe Moira wants to go back to the customer site. What happens when I'm here is her profile updated for both of them. I can see her picture again. It stays consistent between the two. It updates between the two. And you don't have to have a login to the other site. A lot of customers don't do that. I just did it to make it easier to switch between. But even if she had her own just to log in, she could do that. If I log out here, let's see what happens. She's logged out on the regular customer site. Let's see what happens. And she's logged out over here. If a company wanted to give them access to both, her profile is listed in both, and it's a way to combine them. I wouldn't want to bring the partner profile and the customer profile over, because then that's going to allow anybody else with those single profiles to log into each other's account. So to be able to keep it separate, I can do that. Now, if all your customers and your partners could log into the same site, then of course, in your administration settings, you would just bring the customer profile and the partner profile over. But if I did that right now, it would give David and Alexis access to both. I made a third one to give that third person who is in here access to the site. Hopefully that makes sense, where we have one profile, another profile, they can get into their single sites, or we create a third profile to let them into both. But the great thing is they don't have to set up two passwords. They don't have to have two different logins. It'll use the same password no matter which site they're on, the same username. It just depends on the URL they started with. And again, if you wanted to give them access, a quick way to get access to both is put some kind of either a button so they can switch between, or something in the menu like we did over here, and they can switch between. That's how you deal with multiple sites, and just be aware of the security implications and setting up the right sharing sets to use them.